And New York Governor Christie blasting Democratic and Republican members of Congress for not doing their jobs. We spoke with Governor Christie at the Points of Light charity event here in Washington. The governor was honored for his extraordinary work on the Superstorm Sandy recovery. Governor, tell me what's it like to win this award?
Well, it's really wonderful. I mean, it's for to be acknowledged for all the work that everyone else did in helping to rebuild our state after Sandy is really a wonderful thing. And I felt like it was important for me to be down here to represent all those folks who have done such great work in getting us back on our feet.
Well, I was up there, and it was a horrible mess. How are you doing now?
We're getting there. I mean, we're certainly far from finished. It's almost a year. It'll be a year in a couple of weeks. And a lot of businesses are back, and most of the homeowners are back, but there's still a few thousand people who are not back in their homes. And so we got to get them back. But it's going to take some time. We lost or had severely damaged 365,000 homes. So it's going to take a while to get all that back.
With 2020 hindsight, what could have made the recovery faster? What did you need? What do you want next time?
Yeah, Congress could have acted a lot faster. I mean, really, that's the only thing so far that's been a problem. I mean, there's some federal bureaucratic stuff that I think no matter what program you're talking about of that size, you're going to always be dealing with. But Congress waited 100 days to act. It was the longest they ever waited to act after a disaster of that scope. So we could have been 3 months further along if they had acted at the same speed that they acted after Katrina. But instead, they made New York and New Jersey wait 100 days. And so I think that was the biggest thing that's delayed the recovery.
Well, I think a lot of us have complaints about Congress, how fast they react tonight. Especially, it took them 9 days to do something for the death benefits for our soldiers.
Yeah, well, listen, this is part of the whole problem with what they're engaged in right now. They're hired to run the government, not to close it. And they should be getting their job done, and they're not. And both sides are a disappointment.
Has the shutdown affected New Jersey?
Not yet, but it will. If it continues for a much longer period of time, it'll start to affect Sandy recovery efforts. So far, so good. It hasn't, but if this is a very elongated closure, it could start to do that.
A lot of groups came in from other places to help with Sandy, and one of the things everyone's always concerned about is whether or not the groups coming in to help from around the country, well organized and coordinated, so that was a good thing?
It was a great thing. And we had folks, we had the Southern Baptists come up with mobile kitchens that they put all over the state, and were making meals for people who didn't have them. Obviously, the American Red Cross, the Salvation Army were also an enormous help. And then just lots of kids came up on their winter breaks to help people, and organized by colleges. So it was really a good effort, and I think we helped to try to keep. But a lot of these organizations have done this before, and they know exactly what they're doing. They're really helpful.
Well, I came up there with Samaritan's Purse, and I actually looked at it with a helicopter, and then we hit the ground a lot trying to help people. And it's amazing. Samaritan's Purse and Reverend Franklin Graham, they've done so many of these that it's like a well-oiled piece of machinery. They've got trucks, people coming from all over. They've got churches where they've already arranged to park all their trailers, and they've got just a huge semi-tractor trailers full of chainsaws. It's an amazing operation.
It is, and what it also shows you is just the great heart of people all across this country who, maybe had never been to our state before in their lives. Many of them hadn't been, but they heard that there was a problem. They saw the images over television and the newspapers, and they said, we got to come to help. And that's one of the things that this is all about tonight, is people who volunteer their time to help others, and they did a great job for us in New Jersey.
Why does it take so much to sort of bring out that goodness often? I mean, why can't we sustain it a little bit more?
Well, I think we can. I think in Washington they can't, but across the country, my experience is that people sustain goodness every day. And that's part of what makes our country so great. So I think, sometimes those of us who are in this business, whether it's politics like me or the media like you, we tend to focus on the things that go on in Washington, D.C. or some of the state capitals. But across the country, there's so many wonderful things happening, so many people who give so generously their time. We sustain it pretty well as a country, not only here, but around the world, helping people in need. So I think we're doing pretty well.
All right, you brought up Washington, so let me ask you, what's wrong? What's the problem here? Why can't they talk to each other and get something done?
Because they don't talk to each other on a regular basis. They don't develop relationships across party lines. They don't begin to even think about these things until there's a crisis that they themselves created because of their own behavior. And it's a lack of leadership on both parties. We saw this thing coming for months. And everybody plays brinksmanship, doesn't talk to each other, and it's an awful thing. And I can tell you from the people I speak to out in the country, tired of it. They're really tired of it. They're tired of both parties. And no one's going to come out of this unscathed in Washington, nor should they.
Congratulations getting Miss America back to Atlantic City.
Yeah, well, listen, that is really good stuff. You know, you get Miss America, when you're the governor who gets Miss America back to New Jersey, then you can pretty much retire after that, Greta. It's pretty good.
Thank you, Governor. Congratulations on getting the award.
Thanks, Greta. It's great to see you tonight.